A close-up of a couple arguing in bed. Did you kick you that eager? How? Trying to hook up with the woman tries to, but gets slapped hard in the face. 2 hard slaps and the woman's completely seeing this, the man quickly apologized. You hit me. How? You hit me, you hit me. You hit me, you anger building up, she shouts again, but the man suddenly hugs her tight, forcing her rage. Next scene, the woman is seen flirting with a rich man on a train. Hope you're man enough. The man, driven by lust, she gets what she wants, then heads to the dining car. There, she starts writing down seat numbers. Every number marks a soon after, masked robbers don't move. Get back. Once they take over the train, it becomes a moving slaughterhouse. Anyone blocking gets hacked down with an axe. Don't look at me. Don't come closer. A bullet catches, even runners aren't spared. Robbers chase them off train to cut off gold rings from their fingers. These criminals weren't just after money, they wanted women too. They were brutal beyond belief. Watching this, I was absolutely furious. Because this is based on a true crime, the film faithfully recreates the K3 International Train Robbery in terrifying detail. Before we get into the story, after the Soviet Union collapsed, many Chinese traders used trains to sell, often carrying large amounts of criminals exploited cross-border and force. In just 6 days, multiple cases. The film opens with robbers violently breaking into compartments and attacking. One scene even shows Li Fang, played by Zhu. This mirrors the real-life trauma faced by, but the movie doesn't stop at it takes us deeper into. The film is called Moscow Mission, K3 Train Robbery, a great film with an Don't miss this one. At the start, robbers loot and assault passengers. After their ramp, a thug named Zhao Mao starts strutting around. Detective Kui Zhenhai quickly arrests him on the spot. Once in custody, Zhao Mao reveals the gang fled to Moscow. Their leader is nicknamed La. They usually send a woman first to identify the big spender, then the heist begins. Beyond that, he claims to, but the case was so horrible, it endangered China. So the police chief ordered Kui Zhenhai to lead a team to Moscow and bring all suspects back. Kui soon boards a train to Moscow with a few trusted detectives. And on the ride, he immediately spots a Hey miss, mind if I borrow this for a sec? Flipping over her note, it's a receipt from a bakery. Just as he was about to start investigating, a group of robbers suddenly appeared on the train. They're robbing and killing people, watching them attack right before his eyes. Kui Zhenhai was so furious. According to reports, from the robbers raged for 3 so having Kui Zhenhai and his team on board was a real thanks to their desperate fight. The robbers were finally got it. Next train's yours, you understand. Got what? I tore off the tag. Oh my god. A few days later, they finally arrived in. Once the train the robbers immediately got, but Kui Zhenhai let them go on. He wanted to cast a long line. He secretly snapped their photos on to prep for the big roundup late. Meanwhile, in Moscow's Royal Opera House, we finally meet the gang's boss. He's enjoying the opera with his. Suddenly, his younger brother Mao Ziwen rushes, their identities furious. Mao Qingshan explodes in anger. Who turns to politely? Mao Qingshan pretends to be polite, but once the opera, he follows the man home. From this, we can see Mao Qingshan is truly ruthless. Catching him won't be easy. Kui Zhenhai will need every ounce. After getting off the train, Kui and his her name is Zhen. After disembarking, she immediately calls. The man is vacillating. The film's most complicated. I told you it was over. I've got no money. Being with him is just ask. Happy said I can't. Too late now anyway. You're the one who left. I wanted you, but you didn't want me. Who'd want someone like me now? From their exchange, you can tell their relation. After driving a while, Vasily realizes Kui Zhenhai is so he steps on the gas and successfully shakes them. Once Zhenjin returns, Mao Ziwen immediately blames her for riding the train with now they've screwed up and angered the boss. Zhenjin doesn't respond. Instead, she asks, she wonders if Vasily has a daughter and where she might be now. Did you kick him? So eager. Their love-hate dynamic is both enviable and terrifying. You'll understand once you Meanwhile, Mao Qingshan and his blonde girl, her younger brother works there and has already conspired with Mao Qingshan. They were planning to pull off. His girlfriend's brother took him through the. He also revealed the casino was built. It was the perfect spot to make. After checking the place, Mao Qingshan went to. The moment they met, Yi Chuo complained about the unfair. Mao mocked him and said, "If you're not happy, go." Suddenly, Mao Ziwen chimed in. "It's your fault, Zhang Fei. Who asked you to? So that's the younger. See that?" Mao Ziwen's roof is no less than Mao Qingshan's. Together, these two are an unbeatable combo. Catching them will be like climbing to heaven for Kui. The next day, the two brothers went to fight. They needed someone like him, but Vasily had long since retired. He didn't want to take any more risks. Then Mao Qingshan pulled out. Vasily could only hold back his anger. Where does he live? You'll find out soon. He keeps his word. If you're confused, Vasily is originally. He once dug a tunnel to Hong Kong for smuggling. That's how he made his fortune. Mao Qingshan is. He used to hustle clothes. He met Vasily during. They later teamed up on multiple illegal. When Vasily got wanted by the police, he fled to Moscow. Before leaving, he asked Mao. Now Mao's using them as leverage. He's got Vasily completely under his. To clean up any loose end, Mao Qingshan hired a professional to take out Yi Chuo. But the hitman also showed Kui Zhenhai from Beijing was already on his trail. This made CUI's mission even harder. Luckily, Consul Zhang had some good news for him. Yi Chuo was applying for a visa through Vasily to flee the country, but the hitman had already caught up. If CUI's team hadn't, Yi Chuo would have been dead for sure. After being rescued, Yi Chuo immediately confessed, but the killer wouldn't let up. In the end, Yi Chuo, gotta say, that hitman was frighteningly willing to die just to finish the job. Kui immediately sent his. Then he headed to the casino. He didn't know that Mao Qingshan was already planning to escape to Cyprus, but Mao didn't want to take Zhen. He told Mao Ziwen to break up, but Vasily overheard and went. He told her to dump Mao Ziwen. After all, they weren't real. Mao Ziwen only took his surname to climb the. If he had to choose, he'd choose Mao Qingshan. Zhenjin was stunned. Her heart skipped a beat. Meanwhile, CUI's team had already, but Vasily had sharp insight. He and Zhenjin quickly left the place, not giving Kui Zhenhai any chance. Fortunately, a woman who had called the. She was the wife of the man we saw earlier at the. After her husband, she immediately called the. Based on her description, Kui Zhenhai figured out that. So at the next opera sure enough, he spotted Mao. He was about to arrest him in the restroom, but Mao was carrying. Kui couldn't make a move. Just then, a few kids came in, so he had to. He decided to wait for a bed. With the theater, Kui planned to act after the show, but what he didn't was that Mao Qingshan had already. All Kui could do was stare in frustration. Nice Next time, I'll be watching Mao slip away right under. Kui swore he'd drag that bastard back to China himself, but Mao Qingshan didn't see him as a threat at all. Right after leaving the theater, he went straight. His purpose was simple, to convince Zhenjin to break up, but Zhenjin said it was between her and Ziwen. He had no right to interfere. Who knew Mao Qingshan would suddenly lose his temper? Ah. He beat Zhenjin, but the worst was still to come. Once the door, no one knew exactly what happened. When Mao Ziwen returned in high school, he found Zhenjin curled up on the bed, trembling. Ziwen was instantly consumed. He pulled out his gun and pointed it at Mao Qingshan's head. Why? I asked you, why? But he didn't dare to pull the trigger. Mao Qingshan knocked him to the ground with a punch. How many times have I told you? If you want to work with, you can't be soft. At that moment, Zhenjin realized she immediately went to surrender, and she gave up the exact time of Mao Qingshan. Qi Zhenhai rushed to the scene with his team. Sure enough, Mao's men had already started. They killed 2 guards at the underground floodgate. Grab the cash. By the time Qi found them, Mao was about to flee on a motor, and so, a deadly showdown began. Honestly, I don't know. Just know it was. If you're curious, go watch the Rouge. In the end, Mao didn't get away with a single, but Qi didn't catch him either. At least they caught one of him, but he kept his mouth. He'd rather die than. Meanwhile, after the failed operation, Mao Qingshan vented all his rage. He forced Mao Ziwen to clean up the mess. The next second, Mao Ziwen showed up in Zhenjin's hospital room. You betrayed me. You're nothing but a circus. You'd betray me for the boss. You're just another dog I had on a leash. Damn. Mao Ziwen killing Zhenjin shocked everyone, especially Vasily. He had feelings, but he didn't want her to suffer a life on the. That's why he turned her. Right then, Qi Zhenhai found and asked him to help bring down. It was also a way to. Vasily had had enough of, so he used a fake business deal to catch him. Qi faced off with. I really don't know how to describe. Let's just say it. Everything from gunfights to bullets and bombs were just the warm up. The best scene came near the end inside a plane. The production, to raise the stakes and tension, they actually blew up a real fighter jet. After there was no way they were letting Mao get away, or else the cops would look totally. But Vasily took advantage of, grabbed the suitcase of money. But you can't run forever. Back at home, counting his cash, he discovered he never saw it coming. Qi had set the whole thing up. Inside was a photo of him. On the back, it said, "Come to the." Qi would be waiting. He promised that if Vasily returned to China, he'd see his daughter was always so he finally agreed to go back in turn. But Mao Qingshan still refused to confess. He also refused to return. So Qi made him a big plate of dumpling. After all those, that taste brought tears to Mao Qingshan's eyes. I'll go back with you. Just don't let me run again. With Mao finally, Qi Zhenhai could finally escort them, but no one expected the biggest heist would happen on the way back. The train left Moscow, but because of it had to stop and switch tracks before, and that's when the most heart-stopping robbery broke. Earlier we said Qi only caught Mao Ziwen and Mao's girlfriend were still at large. They stormed the train station and blew up the train, cutting any chance of getting the suspects back to China. As long as no one played, they figured no one would get. The robbers were heavily and CUI's team to even the they had no choice but to By now, the attackers had taken. Their demand was release Mao Qingshan. The raid was massive and the scene was pure chaos. One wrong move and you'd be riddled with bullets. To keep things under, Qi handcuffed himself to Mao Qingshan. Unless he there was no way Mao Qingshan. After a half-hour stand, we finally reached the climax. At this point, so you can really feel how intense it was. Liu Ziwen, drop the gun, shoot him, then drop it. Fire now. Are there casualties? Fire. Blow him up. Don't even bother. Shoot him. Fire. No need. None of you will see your daughters again. After Mao Ziwen, the story finally came to when Vasily got. He finally saw him, but by then he never once got to see what his daughter looked like. Did you miss me? At the end of the film, it's revealed that which offers a bit of because in the real case, over the course of there were more than 100 robbers. The 526 robbery case, the town mayor was robbing from the moment it lasted 6. A rare, but there's one part. Malkinction was a seasoned crime. If he didn't want his brother, there were plenty, but instead, he slept with his own. As a result, and switched sides. That betrayal led to the downfall. That part just doesn't make sense. Everything else, though, was